Big hello from Portland, Oregon. Welcome to another episode of B2B Marketing and More. This is what B2B marketing is all about. I talk about everything B2B marketing related, from content marketing, sales enablement, paid media, social media, even community management. Today, we're going to talk about something related to community management. And that's actually a great way to drive organic traffic for your brand. And I have a very, very special guest. Oh my God. I love her. Melissa Romo. And she is a global head of content, social media, and customer advocacy at Sage. If you have never heard of Sage, Sage is a $2 billion public company with SaaS-based platform for accounting, EPR, and HR, with payroll as well. So Melissa, welcome. So happy to have you.
Thank you, Pam. I'm thrilled to be here. And hello from Hoboken, New Jersey.
How is the weather over there today?
Oh, gorgeous. Gorgeous. Almost 80 degrees.
Oh my God.
And it's the middle of October that we record this, so it's pretty nice.
I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina now, and the weather is fantastic. The leaves started falling.
That's gorgeous.
Melissa, I know that you have a wide array of experience, especially in the field of content marketing. But today, we're going to talk about something a little bit different. It's about customer advocacy, social media, and also community management. So can you tell us the community that you are leading and managing at Sage?
Our community is called Sage Champions.
Okay, I like that name.
The name was inspired by really what the mission of the program is, which is to make our superfan customers feel incredibly special, recognizing the customer and creating a closed community. It's an invite-only community that we bring these superfans into. The main thrust of activity is to present challenges to them that they can complete and receive rewards.
Ooh.
And with the reward points, they can receive gifts, they can participate in special experiences, they can ask us to donate to charity. There are all kinds of things they can do with their rewards. We have a leaderboard so they can track their reward with other customers. It's really about customer recognition, and it has a very careful design to make sure that the people we're bringing in are the ones we really want to reward and recognize this way. There's some other things that we do with the program that I can talk about, but at the starting point, it's about recognizing the customer.
Sounds like the community management part of it is not just kind of like people asking questions. It's more or less you have multiple different tools and also incentive to actually help your super users engage. So can you tell us, how did you get that started? Are you using a third-party platform to manage this, or do you build that in-house?
We are using a third-party platform. I can't say who it is.
That's totally fine.
If you Google leading customer advocacy SaaS platform, you will come up with the name of this platform we use. No big secret. It's many companies use this platform. It's not proprietary to us. If we think about lessons learned, which I know we're going to talk about towards the end as well, but one of the big lessons I would say, if you start a community and you don't have a platform to support you, there is really a limit to how big and how active that community can become, because you will be doing everything manually and you will get to the point where very quickly where you cannot engage the community the way you want to.
Given that this is invitation only, I assume you grow the community organically. Is that true?
It is invitation only and grown organically that way. So we go into areas of the business where we know we'll find our super fans. So we're hunting for our super fans. So we look at the NPS surveys. This is one of the best places to go. And anyone who rates us a 7 to 10 on NPS, we will invite them to become a part of the community. But one thing I'll say on NPS is it may seem intuitive to invite just your 9s and 10s into your superfan community because the 7 and 8s are on the border.
Yeah.
But your 7 and 8s are the people where you can make up the most ground in terms of improving their experience. And these are actually your future super fans. They have the potential to be super fans, and it's important to bring them in. And so far, we've had a good experience doing that.
I love that you share that in terms of your selection criteria, which is based on NPS. And you are not just limited to people rated you 9 or 10. It's anybody like 7 or 8 that has potential to be part of the super user and super fan. I think that's fantastic. Do you actually use any kind of paid media effort to actually drive awareness of the community and try to promote it?
We actually don't because we know who we're inviting.
Got it.
Right. With paid media, post an ad and you support it with paid media because you're trying to publicize something to a broader group of people, a broader audience. But we know who we're going out to find. We have their contact information and we don't need the paid media to do what we need to do.
To actually support it.
In the future, when I think this program has reached a critical mass and it could become a proof point to become a customer of Sage, I could definitely see us promoting this program externally with some paid media behind it. But we're not at that point yet. We're very focused on recruitment right now.
I'm very happy that you mentioned that because whenever I talk to a lot of B2B marketers, and they always juggle between how much is it we should focus on organic growth. And if we really want to grow the platform much bigger, do we actually inject or infuse pay media dollars associated with it? And if you do that, how does that impact the quality of the users or the audience? There's always a continuous discussion. But I do agree with you to some extent. If you want to grow and scale in the long term, pay media does play a role. But you are making that call as you walk that journey, and then you can determine when it's the right time to do that. I like that a lot. Yeah. So one of the lesson learned you mentioned is basically that in order to actually manage your community management and well, you need to have a third party platform. And obviously, depending on the company, some company, if they are already a fairly decent and sophisticated SaaS-based platform, they might already have a developers in-house that be able to develop that for themselves. But I do agree with you, having a third-party platform is super critical. In addition to that, what are some of the challenges you encounter while you are trying to grow your community?
One of the interesting things we learned really early on, and we're still grappling with how we address it, is people are not dying to be in our community,
Yeah.
even the super fans. People are really busy.
People are very busy. They use accounting software just because they use it for their job. It's not like you join like a hiking community, you join like a movie watching community. That's very much like your personal passion that will infuse that. But it's job. So I completely understand that they are not necessarily crazy about joining that.
It just underscores the point that you have to sell it to your customers. You have to make sure they understand what's in it for them. It has to be fun. Like you said, Pam, I mean, this is not a movie watching community or hiking club or something like that. It's still, at the end of the day, it's about accounting and it's about your business software. So it has to be fun. And I would just tell people, don't forget what people love about communities, and that is communing with other people.
Talking to the other, networking.
I wouldn't call it a challenge, but it's something we really have our eye on is once we've gotten people in, it's amazing how starved people are for community. Once they're in there, they'll talk about everything. They'll talk about the coffee they had this morning. They'll talk about what they're doing on the weekend. They'll talk about what their kids are up to. I mean, they actually talk about a lot of things that are not directly related to our software or business at all. And they really need that communal experience. And so I would tell people, don't forget the communal part of community. That's what people, I think, more than ever are craving right now. And we are seeing, while it's difficult to get them to carve out the time, once they do, they talk about everything.
Yeah. So with that being said, can you tell us how big is the community, or that's a confidential information, or do you also assign a community manager?
Well, I can tell you we're in the thousands. We want to be much bigger than thousands. In 9 countries, as I mentioned, and I have 3 community
Oh,
managers.
really? Are they all full time, right? They are in-house.
They're all full time. And so we have one person managing the community in North America, one person in EMEA, and one person managing the English language communities in the UK, South Africa, and Australia.
Got it.
Those community managers, that trio of managers, works very tightly together to learn from each other. They have very different dynamics in those regions, but they learn from each other about what customers are responding to and how customers are behaving. Our recruitment strategy is something that we have centralized. And so we make decisions centrally about how to recruit and then sort of land it in that country and execute with a lot of help from the marketing teams on the ground in each country. But what's important to Sage to be able to have this be a really scaled program is that there is a central strategy and central decision making about how to grow that community.
I wrote a book about global content marketing.
I read it cover to cover.
Thank you, Melissa.
Loved it.
It's really about that balance. And you mentioned a very great point. You brought a very good point, which is that delicate balance between the central versus decentralized. That sounds like you have three local community managers that managing it. But in terms of recruitment, that's very much a central decision. But there's a lot of communication that needs to happen at the local level, will take their own leads and to talk to their fans. But I love it that in terms of the recruitment, it's actually centralized. That makes perfect sense to me.
Community managers, I should mention, are geographically, physically located locally, like on the ground in those three regions, but they report to me.
I love it.
Yeah. The relationship building that you need to do when you're in a centralized job is, I can't underscore enough how important that is. You have to build trust. You have to say yes to a lot of things in the early days so people trust you and don't see you as a roadblock. And once you've built that trust, then you can come in and be a little more prescriptive about what you think is the right thing to do. But it's relationship building is just what you have to do. And you will get nowhere if you're in a central leadership role and you don't build the right relationships.
Oh my God, music in my ear. Seriously, everyone, you don't need to read my book. Okay, The Global Content Marketing. Melissa literally just summarized it. It's that important to actually build that relationship with your local team and to have that sense of trust is so important. If you don't have that, it's very hard to move things forward. And you know what? If you actually have many countries that you have to work with, you don't have that trust, they will end up ignoring you.
And listen, they can ignore you because those local countries have their own marketing budget.
They don't have to listen to you.
They don't have to answer your calls.
Now you build that community is pretty established. And do you use that community as a marketing channels?
Yeah, we do everything with that community.
I know like one of your expertise is actually content and you do tons of content marketing and you're leading Sage's global content marketing efforts. So how do you leverage the content for the community? Do you have to customize and localize content?
Especially in EMEA, the content is going to be in French, German, and Spanish and Portuguese. So content wise, it's very customized by language. But what I would say, sort of, how do we manage the community doing everything? So the first thing we did was we decided there were certain things that we wanted to happen in the community to make the community feel good and feel like they were getting something out of the experience. And so 60% of the things that happen in the community are really what you could kind of call fun.
It's a gamification. You get people engaged.
Everything we do is gamified, but the 60% is actually very focused on what's really valuable to them. Share your expertise, network with exclusive communities, come to our keynote speaker just for our champions, things that are really about making them feel recognized and
Special, exclusive. Yes.
yeah, exclusive. And then 40% of the things we do, also gamified, are what I would say have more direct business value for Sage. So we may ask you to refer a friend for Sage software. We may ask you to be a sales reference for a sales conversation, and we need your expertise to talk to a prospect. We may ask you to leave a product review. We may ask you to participate in research or talk to an analyst. So in that bundle of activities, our champions are more than happy to jump in and be involved in those things because they are our super fans and they have so much expertise about our products. But if that's all you do, then your community is just going to start to feel used after a while, and they're just not going to feel like there's something really in it for them. So you really have to be careful to balance what you're doing on sort of that 60-40. That's the way we've set it up, but we're constantly checking ourselves to make sure that people are feeling the recognition that they need to feel.
I think that's a perfect point. You want them to feel special, but at the same time, there is a business purpose for the community in terms of driving the business growth. And you're trying to find that balance between the two, and you don't want them to feel like you are using them. And I love that. With that being said, how do you plan? Do you plan any kind of gamified type of approach, or do you kind of like plan the editorial? Like for every single quarter, do you have some sort of exclusive programs or certain kind of events, like the highlights or whatnot, that you engage with your community members?
We understand at the high level, like take the UK, for example, the process we go through is we understand commercially what is important to the UK let's say in this fiscal year, and then we understand what are the major initiatives happening in each quarter. Like there might be a new product introduction, there might be an event happening, things like that. So we understand the marketing calendar in the country, and then we say to ourselves, where does a champion fit into this marketing calendar?
Aha, I got it.
If there's a new product introduction, let's get the product in front of champions first. Let's release for a beta to champions first.
So they can actually provide feedback. Yeah.
Right. And let's make them feel special by having them see the product first. If there's an event, can we do an exclusive velvet rope experience for a champion where they may get to meet the CEO or they may get to meet the keynote speaker or something like that, or have a private lunch or something like
Yeah.
that? So, where does the champion fit into the marketing calendar? And then we design what it is we want to do with those champions. But it's important to start at the commercial plan in the country or the geography that your program is across, and then slot in things that you would want to do with the champions. Because if you plan your content by itself and say, well, today we're going to talk about kittens, there's nothing wrong with talking about kittens. And actually, sometimes communities love to talk about their pet, actually, a lot. They love to talk about their pets. But if you plan your content just by yourself and your team, and then you go off and do it, you miss all these opportunities to actually really make the community feel special.
Amplify it. Let me paraphrase it. You obviously take care of the community members well, and there is multiple different layers of elements to actually engage with the community members. But at the same time, when you create a marketing plan, especially for the launches or even for your integrated campaigns, you will look at that holistically and then determine where the community or the super fans can fit into a specific elements. Really trying to connect different dots.
That's right. Exactly.
And so you are not just treating the community as a separate island of its own. It's actually another marketing channel, but you want to use it wisely and have the discussion. And it sounds like that discussion is happening at the local level. Is that right?
That's exactly right.
Yeah. How long has this community been around?
It's only been a year in the US and the UK, a year, and it's only been about 6 months in EMEA.
Oh, really?
So it's very, very new. I know I'll have a lot more to say about it. Give me another year or two on. I think we'll have a lot more to say about it.
You are going to come back.
I'll come back. Yeah. I actually think the early days are sort of the most instructive. And I'm glad I'm recording this with you because I'll probably go back and listen to it next year. Like, what did I learn again?
Given that it has been a year and you use a third-party platform and you try to gamify it as much as you can, and you also assign the full-time the community managers at the country level or the local level to help grow it. Sounds like you do put quite a bit of budget to it, right? But the budget is in terms of headcount, and also the budget is in terms of content consumption. How do you manage, or can you help us to understand if anybody wants to launch a community within enterprise or a fast-growing SaaS-based platform company? How much budget do they need and how do they manage that? You don't have to share with us in terms of how much money you spend, but maybe a range will help. Like what kind of budget and resources they do need to get started.
It's well into the six figures, not over $500,000.
It's somewhere between 100,000 to about half a
Right.
million. Okay.
Yeah. So how do you do that? If you follow the 60-40 split, so 60 is fun and 40 is
Engaging with them. Yeah, business value. Yeah, I like that term, business value.
it isn't that our customers having fun doesn't have business value to us. It definitely does. But I'm talking about sort of bottom line business value. So
I agree.
if you think of that 40% business value, what you need to do is forecast, okay, how many sales references do I think I could get with this program once it's at a run rate that makes sense? How many sales referrals? How many product reviews? What impact will this have on conversion in the funnel? What impact will this have on reducing churn? Things like that. So you need to forecast what business value you think this program could logically deliver with that 40% of activity focused on business value. And once you do that, you can sort of step back from that and say, okay, if this is what I think I can get out of it, then I can afford to spend X, whatever that business value is. And that's exactly the exercise that we went through. I mean, I won't tell you how many spreadsheets, exhaustive business case.
I can relate. I work in the corporate for a long time. I get it.
We counted every penny, right? Like, what did we think we could get back from this program for the company to justify an investment in a platform? But anybody can do that. So I would just tell you to start with where you think your business value will be and add that up, and that'll tell you the range of what you can realistically spend. And then the other thing I'd say about cost, there's two principal costs for us. One is the platform, and the other are marketing promotion costs. Like it's a big bucket of marketing promotion, but that includes all the swag. If you get certain points, we'll send you a Sage hoodie, we'll send you a water bottle.
Yeah, merchandising. It's a merchandising related.
It's all the merchandising. And what I feel strongly about is that I'm going to plug to all marketers out there. We marketers need to de-swag ourselves. I say that because of all the sustainability things that are being discussed right now in business and in politics and in the world. Every decision we make as a business, we need to look at it much more critically and ask ourselves, do I really need to order 1,000 water bottles? I probably don't. And so, what does that mean as far as gamification? It means that couldn't we reward our customers with things like experiences or donations to charity? And won't the customer as good, maybe even better, with experiences and donations to charity than they would getting a Sage water bottle?
Look at the environment. I mean, how much trash
Yeah.
or how
Yeah.
much waste that we generate, how many water bottles that we need. And I hear you.
I don't want to get my team in trouble because we are still sending out Sage water bottles and we aren't immediately going to stop doing that. But my vision is that we're going to get to a point where we find rewards that are non-material that will be as valuable to the customer. So this is what we are looking at hard and what we want to be committed to doing. And we're going to work our way there. And I think all marketers should be trying to do that.
That is such a great point. I did not even think about that, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't think any of my clients, when they're talking about merchandising, especially try to start a conversation or trying to engage with their prospect, in addition to content, is always some sort of merchandising, right? It's a really customized merchandise that you send it to somebody, and then somebody says, "Oh, this is kind of nice." So merchandising is a means, if you will, like a conversation opener. But I like that you are looking from slightly different perspective. Can we not do that? Are there any other ways that we can do that a little bit even more effectively and yet still provide that sense of value, that emotional touch that's needed with your prospect? So
That's
good
right.
point.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Yeah.
thinking of that.
I would love to hear marketers talk about merch and how to de-merch ourselves because we love merch.
We love merch. I mean, I love stuff. I mean, I will go to, I mean, a lot of time I will, but obviously we are also very selective in terms of what kind of merch we want to
Right.
get, right? But we love merch. Like sometimes I was like, even a nice pen. I still take that.
Yep.
So talk to us in terms of what are some of the new initiatives that you plan to do in 2022.
Working even better with our sales teams. Right now, we are semi-automated with our reference and referral process and are passing references and referrals across to sales. But I don't think sales is quite equipped to receive them and to know what to do with them and to really see the Champions program as a really powerful tool in their toolbox. And so I want to spend a lot of time with sales teams and make sure that my team understands what they need and that we're getting that out of our champion community and bringing that to the sales teams. That's one really important thing. The second one is automating a feedback loop to product marketing.
Love it.
Product marketing and service, I would say, customer service, because we learn so much about our products and how customers use our features and what they like and what they don't like and what's missing, what they wish they had, all of this kind of stuff. And again, we do feed it back to product marketing and to our customer service teams, but we do it in a mainly manual way. And I would like to find a way to automate that. So it's just continuously flowing back to the teams that need to see that feedback. Those teams can act on it right away. And the nirvana for us would be that a customer says something on Monday, gosh, I wish I could have unicorns in my app.
The unicorn shows up.
And we give it to product marketing, and then Friday there's unicorns in the app, and we can say, thank you, John, what a great idea. Like that's the nirvana, right? Because then the customer's like, wow, these people are actually paying attention to me, the customer, and they're talking to each other in that company. And then that gives me so much more confidence as a customer.
I love these two initiatives that you are talking about. So just echo in terms of what you said earlier. You're talking about 60-40%, right? There's a 60%, there's a gamify. You actually have to drive that personal communication engagement with your super fans. But there's a 40% of it you need to somehow get a certain kind of business value, because that will be your success metrics, right? Why you launch the community. And I am super thrilled and incredibly impressed that you are thinking about, for that 40%, you inject two additional elements to it. One is how to better improve our product development in the future. That is a super, super awesome dashboard, or even the metrics that you can use to validate the essence and the presence of the community.
Right.
And another one is engaging with sales. But I'm so happy. Oh my God, you made my day that you brought up in terms of like engaging with sales as one of the major initiatives for 2022. Oh my God.
I know a book. I can recommend a book about sales enablement that someone wrote.
Oh my God, I love you. By the way, if you are watching or you are listening, please, if you are listening, why subscribe. If you are watching this video, please comment and subscribe below. Please, please, please. Love, love, love to hear from you. So there are a lot of aspiring young marketing professionals listen to my channel. Do you have any career advice for them?
I've been in marketing for 25 years. And
By the way, you look gorgeous. You look great.
why, thank you. Yeah, so half of it has been in content, and the other half has been in the old days of Mad Men TV style Madison Avenue advertising.
The traditional market, yeah, traditional side, yes.
So I really had a career that's been in both worlds. And what I would tell people coming into marketing today is marketing is technology, technology is marketing. So if you are somebody who is not comfortable with technology, or you think you're not comfortable with technology, the first thing I would tell you is, if an old dog like me can learn how to use Salesforce, everybody can.
You trick, everybody can.
Get your head around the tech.
Yeah.
There is so much technology in marketing. It's really important to just sit with it, understand what it does, and be comfortable with technology. Because if you don't want to touch the technology with the Eloqua or whatever, then you're going to really struggle as a marketer.
I 100% agree with that. Yeah.
That said, what I will observe as an old style marketer is that the tech has dehumanized marketing, in my view. I think marketers today are very focused on all the bits and bobs of the technology, and very seldom do we stand back and go, who's the human on the other end of this experience? And how are they feeling? And we have to remember that marketing is about one human communicating with another human. Yeah. There's all kinds of tech that goes in between and that enables us, but we have to remember the human side of marketing. It doesn't matter what tech is introduced, you still go back to the person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Marketing is getting a person to want something, and then it's getting that person to want that thing and to take an action. And that, at the end of the day, has to involve some kind of human connection. And if you let the tech get in the way, you're not going to get there.
You brought a very good point. On one hand, you need to embrace the technology. On the other hand, you need to actually have a certain kind of insight and wisdom. How are you going to maximize that? But it's not maximized to the point that it's 100% automation and leave the human elements out of it.
Right.
It's not like you created a lot of auto responses, but even within the auto responses that you created or the workflow that you set up, that copy that you decided to write needs to be very personable, needs to be engaging,
Right.
needs to be able to segment it, right? But don't automate it to the point that everything is automated, everything is written by bot. When people are talking to you, they feel like talking to a bot.
Right.
So I completely understand that you mentioned that. And thank you so much for doing that. It's really kind of like the technologies, the arts and science. And as a marketer, that you have to kind of somehow find that balance between the arts and the science in a way.
And I'll give you an example. Our platform automates our program, which is great. But when you go into the program, like let's say first thing in the morning, it'll say, "Hi, Melissa. How are you doing today?" or something like that. We have a greeting at the top of your dashboard. And if you go in a few hours later, it says, "Hi, Melissa, it's great to see you again." It's all automated, but it's just we set rules to make a person feel welcome and to feel like there's a human on the other side.
And also the copy is very important. How the copy is
Yes.
written. Like a lot of people are like writing is dead. Trust me, writing is not dead.
Nope.
All right. So talk to us. What Netflix show are you binge watching right now?
It's not Netflix, but I'm going to veer off your question a little. It's Apple Plus.
Okay. Talk to us.
First off, I sorely miss Ted Lasso like crazy. We just finished season 2, and my husband and I keep coming home at night like, we miss Ted. But we have started watching Mr. Corman. I think it's called Mr. Corman on Apple Plus. The guy's called Gordon Levitt. I can't remember the first name, Jonathan Gordon Levitt, maybe. But he wrote, directed, and starred in this show. It's a dramedy, and it's about the interior life of a person struggling with panic and anxiety.
Oh, wow. Mr. Corman.
And it is so empathetically done. It's so insightful. Deborah Winger plays his mother, and she's fantastic.
Oh, really? I love her.
I couldn't even describe it for you, but we are loving it. We've been watching 3-4 episodes at a shot. It's really good. Mr. Corman.
All right. Great suggestion. Love it. Now you're saying I have to subscribe another streaming service?
Sorry.
What's wrong with me?
But if you have not seen Ted Lasso, get on it.
I saw season 1. I loved it. It was like very like wicked sense of humor. You know, like you are not laughing out loud, but you are laughing in your mind. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes.
Hey, thank you so much for coming to my show and your wisdom, your insight, and also you provide a very specific know-how. I am very grateful for that, and I'm sure my listeners and the people who watching the videos love it as well. So can you talk to us how they can reach out to you, how they can connect with you?
Probably the best way is to find me on LinkedIn, Melissa Romo at Sage. If you search that, you're going to find me on LinkedIn. I love to connect with people. I love to get messages and hear what people are doing. So absolutely, for sure, reach out to me through that channel. I'm on Twitter as at Romo Writer too. So if you just want to ping me, I'm there too.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So happy to have you on my show. Again, if you like the show, subscribe below, comment anytime. I will respond to your comment. Take care. Bye.
Great chatting with you, Pam. Bye.
Never miss an episode of B2B Marketing and More by following us here on YouTube and leave a comment while you're at it. You can also find episodes wherever you get your podcasts.